Yeah, so I was going to ask you then. No problem. If your position is anti-Islam, that's not a problem. I mean, by definition, if you're something other than Muslim, you're going to disagree with parts of Islam. Can I ask you specifically, what do you find repugnant about Islam that you feel like you need to
Let's start with the anti-Semitism.
Okay, go ahead. So tell me what in particular you think.
Are you denying that Islam is anti-Semitic?
Well, the thing is, you'd have to look at the Prophet.
And don't.
Can I ask you a question?
Semitic, I don't mean.
I mean Jewish.
Yeah.
Well, Moses is a Semite, yes.
I know. Jew hatred. All right.
Okay. Does the Quran declare hatred for Moses?
Your Moses in the Quran is not the same as the Jewish Moses.
No problem, but he was a Bani Israel. He was a Jew. Yeah?
What about today's Jews?
No, hold on. Are you with me? So is the Quran, because Moses for us is the most commonly repeated, oft-repeated prophet in the whole of the Quran. He's repeated in over 70 passages.
And Muhammad also said he was a Jewish prophet.
Yes.
And
who the Jew that Moses was, yeah?
No. But Muhammad in the beginning was claiming he was a Jewish prophet to try to get the Jews on to convert. But
no problem. But was he represented? Do you reckon that the depiction of Moses in the Quran is an anti-Semitic one?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. So then, to answer your question, then by extension, I'll say if one of the heroes of Islam is a Jew, and not just one,
but but your version of Moses is not the Islam, not the Jewish version.
I'm with you, but I'm just answering your question, right? If we're looking at all of
the Quran also says very lovely things about Jews, but the law of abrogation tells us that in the beginning he liked the Jews. Later, when he realized
who's he?
Your prophet.
Okay, well, tell me where it says that in the beginning he liked the Jews and later he didn't.
If you look at the historically, but the fact is.
By the way, do you know the law of abrogation? Sorry to cut you off. There's a verse which is in chapter 2, verse 106 of the Quran. It only applies to ahkam, which are rulings. It does not apply to akhbar, which are narratives. So here, what you've talked about abrogation, which is something people who don't know much about Islam, I'm not trying to say specifically you, use all the time. The law of abrogation only applies to legal rulings. It cannot apply. There cannot be a narrative that abrogates another narrative.
Legal rulings are pretty much fundamental to the religion.
But you are talking.
Let's not move. Sharia.
No problem.
Can I stop you 1 second? One second. Can Christians be anti?
Listen, I don't think Jews should be allowed to talk.
No, there's a quick question. You can just answer this.
Well, it's a similar view to Timothy in the Bible, which says that women are not allowed to talk in the church. But what I was going to say to you was,
can Christians be anti-Semitic? Because you were saying Muhammad could be anti-Semitic.
I didn't say this.
No, but I'm asking, can Christians be anti-Semitic?
Everyone has the propensity to be anti-Semitic.
So do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Look, let's keep this going. What I was going to say, the Quran says something really interesting about Jewish people. Okay, I'll tell you exactly what the Quran says in summary.
It's not that interesting.
No.
You're focusing on the boring part. The parts that don't bother us.
That's subjective. Well, you've asked me a question which is scriptural in nature, and I'm giving you the answer, right? The Quran, it says, Min Ahlil Kitab, in chapter 3, verse 75, that there are those of the Jews and the Christians that you can trust them, and there are those who you can't trust them. In another verse in the same surah, it says, Laysu sawa'a, they're not all the same. That was the one verse before it. So in other words, the Quran's attitude towards Jews and Christians seems to be in line with its attitude towards Muslims, because in the Quran, chapter 35 of the Quran, it says, Minhum zalimun li nafsihi, wa minhum muqtasid, wa minhum sabiqun bil khayrat. That's, I'll hold on for you, no problem. So just to keep going, the Quran says that there are some Muslims who are oppressive to themselves, and some of them which are on the middle path, and those who excel. Likewise, the Quran says about the Jews and Christians, they're not all the same. There are some good of them and there are some bad of them. Likewise, the Quran makes that has that sentiment to all of humankind. That humankind, you find good people, and you find trustworthy, and you find untrustworthy. So I think if we're talking about the Quran, what we need to do is we need to look at the text. I mean, it's easy to say, well, Muslims believe in this, and I would agree with you, Avi, right? If you said to me, look, Muslims are anti-Semitic, I would say to you, some of the Muslims are anti-Semitic.
No, let's be honest.
Yes.
The majority. You've been on any Muslim forum online.
No, hold on. He might be right. It depends on the location. I'm from Egypt, okay? In Egypt, I would say anti-Semitism is the default position. If you're not anti-Semitic in Egypt, it's irregular. Whether you're a nationalist or an Islamist.
Why is that?
It's because of, I will tell you, hold on, let me answer your question.
I can't wait for you to say the said word.
No, it's not Zionism. I'm not saying that. It's because of the wars that ensued.
Should have been the Rothschilds.
1967, 1973. These wars heightened the anti-Semitism. But then, on the flip side, the peace
That's like the Brexit. It's called sore losers.
No problem. But no problem. I don't disagree with history, right? History is something which is there. But what I'm saying to you is that on the flip side,
you do disagree with history, because when it comes to Israel, I've seen
let's not convolute the discussion.
But you made a pretty strong statement that you don't disagree with history, but you actually do fundamentally disagree.
Okay, well that's maybe you're right. Maybe it's because of my compounded ignorance of history. You could illuminate and educate and edify. No problem. But what I'm saying to you is this, Avi, we have to stick to the topic. You started off by talking about anti-Semitism in the scriptures, right?
Yep.
We talked about verses of the Quran which explicitly mention good things about Jewish people. I'll tell you some that don't, because I want to be balanced here. I don't want to be unbalanced. It talks about this Jewish scholarly class in chapter 62 of the Quran. Himar yahmilu asfara, donkeys that have scriptures on their backs. What does this mean? The Quran makes a criticism about Jewish scholars that they have a lot of knowledge. It says they have a lot of knowledge, but that they don't implement that knowledge. And by the way, what's really interesting about this criticism, Avi, is that it's the same criticism that the Israelis had. When recently I was looking at Haaretz, one of the Israeli newspapers.
Let's just be fair, guys. Haaretz is not very Israeli. They are.
And that's your position as a right wing, but it's a left wing paper, right?
A very far left wing paper.
No problem, but it is a paper in Israel.
Self-hating Jews.
No problem. But they were talking about something interesting. There was
to you.
Okay, maybe to me. Yes, it's subjective. I was wrong.
Let's hear it.
What I was going to say is that the scholarly class, because the clerics referred to as the Shahs in Israel, yeah? A lot of them in parliament, in the Knesset, they refer to as Shahs. But outside, there's the scholarly class of Jewish people. They have been criticized by their own community for being exempt from the army.
Yep.
So, in fact, the Quranic criticism of the scholarly class of Jews is the same as the Israeli one. That you have a lot of knowledge, but you don't have any action. That you're not doing.
So can you explain to me why that hadith? Let's go back to the beginning. That hadith there doesn't differentiate the one where it talks about, and it's not, because I get the argument all the time that it's historic.
No, it's not historic.
That one is in the future.
Yes, absolutely.
So we need to get rid of that.
No, we don't need to get rid of that, because what this hadith is telling us in explicit terms is that there will be a war between Muslims and Jews. By the way, to be fair and clear, at that particular time, yes, and this is an apocalyptic hadith. It's talking about in the end of times. It's talking about in the day of judgment, that there will be a war between Muslims and Jews, or some Muslims and some Jews, and then the tree will talk.
No, it doesn't say some. It doesn't say some.
No, I'll tell you what it says in the hadith. It says that there's a tree called the gharqad, which is a tree. It will become animate. It's an inanimate creature which will become animate, and it will help and facilitate and guide Muslims to be able to destroy their Jewish enemy. That's all it is. At that particular time, in the apocalyptic period, not in this is not a hadith referencing, yes, like you said, a past event. I agree.
So what do you think? You don't think we should get rid of that hadith that talks about killing Jews?
Let me ask you a question, right? Yes, I don't, and I'll be completely honest with you. I'm a traditionalist. I'm a scripturalist, which means fundamentally that I believe in the Quran and then I believe in the authentic Sunnah. So you would never catch me saying that we can get rid of any authentic hadith. Just to be completely honest. But then I'll ask you a question. You know, Deuteronomy chapter 13 verses 6 to 10, it says if you have someone in your home that وَإِذَا أَغْوَاكَ, I'm saying it in Arabic because but it says here, let me just tell you, if your brother or your son or your daughter or your friend or your wife, if they entrust you with something, yes, and they tell you نَعْبُدُ آلِهَةً أُخْرَى, we will worship other gods, yes, then kill them and stone them in their own homes. Now this is in the Bible, the Torah.
I condemn it.
Do you want to get rid of it?
I say we should get rid of it.
Okay, fantastic. Now go. I want you. Perfect. He said sorry. He said he condemns it.
If it's in the Torah.
Yes.
If it's in the Torah.
Yes.
Get rid of it. And
I'm very
happy.
happy.
Believes it should be.
Job complete. You know why? Because for the first time, I think in history in your life, you've condemned a different scripture. I'm very happy that now you've looked at.
I condemn Nazism.
No. I'm talking about scriptures. In the same, with the same. Avi, listen to me. Avi, perfect. With the same vigor that you have against talking about the Quran and the Hadith, because of its what you would refer to as violent verses, and we wouldn't disagree. There are violent verses in the Quran. I want you to use that same standard in condemning the Bible and the Old Testament.
No, but
isn't that fair? Isn't that fair?
No, it's not fair.
No, but he's an atheist.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it's not fair.
Yeah, go on.
Because you don't see Jews killing Jews or Jews killing Muslims in the name of the Torah. You don't see it is just Muslims targeting Jews. Anytime there's a jihadi attack around the world,
okay, now it's going to
they tend to they target and then they get the Jews on the side.
Avi, thank you.
Bonus.
I see what you're saying, Avi, I appreciate where you're coming from. There's two important problems. One of them is, according to Pew, Muslims account for about 1.8 billion people, which means that they're about one quarter going on to, according to them, 2,100, there'll be 1/3 of the world's population will be Muslim. 1 out of 3 people in the world will be Muslim, according to
what, okay, let's
hold on.
Just tell me now.
Let me just make the point, and then you can. Now, Jews account for about 30 million people maximum, maybe 20 million.
Yep.
That means to say that there are more people in Cairo.
Oh, we're the chosen ones.
No problem. Yeah, now you're going to scripture with the chosen one. No problem. Anyways. There are more people in Cairo than there are Jews in the whole world.
Yep.
So it's a false comparison, because if you have more people...
What did you say? There's more,
yes. There are about 20 million people in Cairo, yeah? So what I was going to say is that it's a false comparison, because when you... if you have...
No, I'll tell you why it's not a false comparison.
Okay, let me just make the point, and then you can come back. If you have 2 billion people, you have 2 billion people in the world versus 20 million, you're definitely going to get more violence from the 2 billion, whatever faith they're from.
Okay, so let me put this to you.
Yes.
Let's agree on a number. A percentage of the 2 billion that's jihadi, violent jihadis. Give me a number.
I'm sorry, I can't give you that. I don't know. I don't know.
Let's say 1%.
No problem.
0.1.
Whatever you want.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, 1.1. Yes.
My point doesn't change.
Well, okay, let's get actual statistics. Let's get.
Hold on.
Let's get
my
statistics.
point here is that it's not the gross number that counts.
Yes.
It's the fact that in no other religion do you have even the matching percentage that is killing and targeting others in the name of the religion. There is a fundamental
So Avi, what's the source for that? What source do you have? What evidence do you have for this?
For what?
For the point you just made. Because I can give you evidence to the contrary.
Just life.
No. Avi, I'm going to say to you, that's not an academic way of making... Avi.
I don't need you to give me academia.
Avi, don't get distracted. Okay, I'm making a very clear case.
All I'm saying to you...
I heard your point.
There is... Sure.
Let Avi make his point. Go ahead, Avi.
There is no other religion. I think there are so many more Muslims than Jews. We get that.
No problem. Yes.
And obviously there are going to be many more violent ones because of the numbers. But percentage per capita.
Can I come back to you?
Per capita.
Yes.
Because there is no fundamental thing that teaches any other religion to kill.
No problem, Avi. I will tell you something, right? If you look at the book of Deuteronomy, book of Numbers, chapter 31, verses 18 and verses 32, it's very clear that there is a very clear command to Moses to go into the village and
take
the
Canaanites.
Yes, to go into the village.
If the Canaanites were here today,
yes. And take 32,000 girls who are virgins and take them as slaves, etc.
Yeah, it's very Islamic of it. Now,
yes, very Islamic. They predated Islam, so maybe it was maybe the opposite. No problem.
Now, what I'm saying to you,
should we take that out of the Bible as well?
If it's historically happened, it's a disgrace. I condemn it.
It's a command. It's a command from God, according to the Jews.
Now, if there were Canaanites today, or Amalek, you're talking about the Amalek people.
No, these are not Canaanites. Canaanites.
If they existed today and Jews were targeting them, I will be at the front condemning them as well.
Okay, Avi, I like that.
Okay,
fine. So let me go back to...
It's irrelevant because it doesn't exist.
I appreciate
and you're fucking tall, it's annoying.
No problem. Avi, I'm coming back to... Go back to the social extrapolation. In terms of raw data, okay? Raw data that we have in front of us. In terms of raw data that...
Did you pay for that coffee, or was that another one of those ones you...
Avi, please, can you continue with me, please? Ali, please. In terms of raw data that we have in front of us, according to Daniel Pape, who wrote the book Dying to Win, looking at the period of time from 1980 up until I think it was 2000, it was a 30-year period he looked at, and it's probably, regarding academics, it's probably the most accurate survey of suicide bombers in the modern period. And he said that in terms of ratio, the number one group of people that did suicide bombing was the Tamil Tigers. That's his finding, right?
What years was this?
Pardon?
What years? What?
He looked from 1980 until another period, 2005, I think. 1980 to 2005, which is about 25 years.
Yep.
So he looked at that period of time, which is pre, obviously, 9/11, and post.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So here we're looking at a very. So here the point is this: is that when we look at the academic data, it doesn't substantiate your claim.
It does, because the Tamil Tigers, and I condemn any.
See now, Avi, do you know what I've done with you today?
No,
Avi.
Hold on.
Yes, go ahead, sorry. Yes.
But the Tamil Tigers is in a specific war zone. Islam,
so suicide bombing.
Islam looks at the war. No, I'm condemning it.
No problem.
But what I'm saying is the reason why you don't see me out there taking up the cause of the Tamil, because the fact is they are no threat to us here in the West.
Okay, so your focus is that which is a threat.
Because your religion calls
No,
for
Avi.
the fundamental basis of it
Yes.
is an Islamic caliphate worldwide.
Okay, no,
all of you believe that one day.
That's your interpretation of that. No,
What? Are you denying that?
Yeah, I'm denying that. I don't think the fundamental.
Follow the Quran then.
I know, I know the Quran. Hold on, guys. Sorry.
Do you not believe? Okay, fine, not fundamental. Do you believe?
No. I believe that the fundamental message of Islam.
No. Forget the word fundamental because
Right.
I like it. I can see what you're doing.
Yes. I will tell you clearly, right? I will tell you clearly that. I will tell you clearly that. I will tell you clearly. There is no specific instruction in the Quran, and I dare anyone to defy me. There is no specific instruction in the Quran telling ordinary Muslim laymen to establish a caliphate, and you can give me the opposite.
So what I'm asking you is,
What about
No, you've made a claim.
no,
I'm asking you.
so what am fine. So you're denying
Yes, I'm
the
denying.
idea
I'm denying
that
it.
in
Yes,
Islam
I'm denying
you
it.
need a worldwide caliphate.
No, I'm not denying that. No, hold on. No, hold on. Let me be clear. I'm not denying the existence of a caliphate historically.
No.
Or the need for it. Or the need for it. Or
You're
the
denying
advantage of it. No, hold on.
I didn't ever say that
Right.
in the Quran it says you have to.
No, you said it was a
saying
message. Yes.
As one of the, I'm not going to use the word fundamental.
Oh, so what do you want to say? What's the message you're trying to communicate?
One of the objectives, one of the things within Islam is to create. Everybody's got to have an active role. Every Muslim.
You sound like Hizb ut-Tahrir. I mean, here the thing
Every Muslim has to have, whether it's through violent jihad or whether
now you've gone to ISIS.
Jihad.
From Hizb ut-Tahrir to ISIS. Look,
it's not ISIS.
Here's the point.
Do you believe that the world needs to become a worldwide caliphate one day?
No, absolutely not. I don't think that Sharia law should be imposed on every person, especially non-Muslims. And the evidence of that is in the Quran. Do you know that? The Quran says, "La ikraha fi din qad tabayyana ar-rushd min al-ghayy," that there's no compulsion in religion. And when it talks about imposing the jizya on the individual, hold on, I'm getting there before you get there, my friend.
I love jizya.
Anyways, Avi, let's keep this mature. Yalla, Habibi. What I was going to say to you is that when it talks about imposing the jizya on Jewish people and Christian people in chapter 9 verse 29, if you look at the tafsir or the exegesis of one person called Al-Qurtubi, he says about this that when you impose a jizya is just a tax.
No, it isn't.
Okay, tell me the opposite.
The tax is a part of it, but it's second-class citizen on every level.
Okay, hold on. I'll come to it.
Like my family
on every
lived
level.
under. Well, you know.
Carry on. Don't need that.
See, what do I do? Yes.
You're not allowed to.
Sorry, go ahead.
You're not allowed to build churches, synagogues.
No. Hold on, please. He's right to an extent. You're talking about the Arabian Peninsula, okay?
No,
yes.
I'm talking about the idea of being a dhimmi.
No. That's not. There's no evidence for that. I'm telling you, in the Arabian Peninsula, there was specific command that you can't build a church in that area because, look, people say you're not even allowed to go into Mecca as a non-Muslim. Did you know this?
I know that.
Let me tell you why, okay? Do you know that in Mecca now, and when we go there now, I've been there, I've got a video online if you want to see me going to Mecca, interesting. No offense, man.
Can I come with you to Mecca?
No, yes you can actually, on one condition.
I've got to take this.
I'll
do the shahada.
No, let me tell you something, right? It's a city which is quite small. There's about 3 million people that go there every year, Now, people die being trampled over and things like that. And the reason why they die is because of overpopulation, overcrowding, right? Now, imagine if we made this a tourist resort for Christians and
Jews. You know what I love most about you now, besides your height, I've found something else, is that you find a way to justify every barbaric thing with some sort of sensible...
barbaric.
Some sort of sensible explanation. Do you know why you can't build synagogues?
No
because
problem.
people might get...
Okay.
What bullshit is that?
Okay, no problem. Let's not go with that.
Rubbish.
Let's not go with that.
Rubbish.
No. That's not. If there's...
I don't have a cameraman.
The Quran says... I'm going to do your job for you.
A wandering Jew.
Guys, sorry. Let me
for telling me
let me make your life easier. I'll give you a verse in the Quran that gives you a reason. Yes?
Yep.
It says إنما المشركين نجس فلا يقربوا المسجد الحرام بعد عامهم هذا. It says that certainly the polytheists are impure, so they should not be allowed in the sanctuary after this year. What does it mean to be impure as a polytheist? There's two opinions. One opinion is that they are impure in the sense that they are not Muslims, they are not monotheists, and this is the strongest opinion. So someone who does not have monotheism should not come into the sanctuary where there is monotheism. So this is the Quranic explanation. I'm not going to apologize about that. It's polemic. I'm just saying that this particular sanctuary.
So
Yes.
you're not going to apologize for it. Do you find that?
I don't find that anything. There's some places I can't go to. Cordoba. I can't go to certain places.
Where can't you go?
In certain places in Spain. I can't go to certain places in Spain and establish a mosque. I can't go to the Vatican and establish a mosque.
Show me one. Is there any place on earth that you can't go to?
Yes.
Because
the Wailing Wall.
of your religion.
The Wailing Wall.
Bullshit. I'll show you a video now.
No.
I took I took a Muslim
Anyways,
in a burqa
no
to the Wailing Wall.
Okay, very good.
To prove a point.
Yes, to prove a point. To prove a point. Now, can you prove a point and take me to Mecca?
No problem. I'm not a liberal, brother. Avi, look at me. I'm not a philosophical liberal. Yeah. So in my estimation, if there are some things, I'll agree with you on one point. This goes against.
Are you a pack of racists?
No, I don't, because I think that if anyone's going to be accused of racism, it's going to be the chosen race. But it's not going to be the chosen people.
Gentiles.
You're a Gentile.
According
to the Jew. Here, hold the camera.
They're going to be our slaves one day.
Exactly.
Let me finish off with them. I think we're done.
You got me.
Ali, sorry.
We need Ali because there's only 20 minutes left. No, I want to see this.
Yeah, no, I'll give Ali's next. Ali's.
We got 5 minutes.
After hijab, you don't need me.
I want to talk to you because you did so well on Tommy Robinson that time.
No problem. Here's what I say to you guys, and I want to say openly. I don't want to seem like an apologist. I'm going to give you the...
You don't want to sound like an apologist.
No, I'm not an apologist.
You better shut up.
Okay, no. Yes. Very funny. Here's what I'll say to you then, yeah? I'll say to you, generally speaking, number one, my premise is not philosophical liberalism. So if you think that there are some things, because you said yourself, I believe in like the Judo-Christian Western, you use the word Western, philosophical framework. I don't believe in that. I believe in...
Why do you live here?
No, I don't need to believe in that to live here. According to
you sort of do it.
No. Hold on. Brother, please let me correct him. Let me correct him.
Giant.
Yes, Avi. According to liberalism itself, I can believe in whatever I want so long as I don't harm you.
You know what I love about that is you get to use Western ideals to justify how to hate them. It's just mind-boggling.
Listen, Avi, no problem. I'm going to say to you, if you're a true liberal, yes?
I'm not a true liberal.
Oh, so wherever you are, I don't care. If you believe in philosophical liberalism, what is your base? What is your premise? Who am I speaking to? You seem to be just...
I think if you live in the West, accept Western values and embrace it.
Well, Western values are liberalism, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, fine.
Philosophical liberalism.
But you just said now you don't accept them.
Yes. No, I don't accept that is an ultimate truth. That's parts of it.
Does Sharia come first? Islam come first?
No doubt about it in my mind. No doubt about it. 100%. Yeah, no doubt about it in my mind. I will say.
Can you understand why people want to say to you, then get out?
No, because
Israel come first. You open.
Ali, sorry.
Not here.
Answer. Answer. 1 second. Answer. No. Does Israel come first or Britain?
Ali. Let me finish. I'll let you go next.
When I'm in Australia, Australia comes first.
You're a liar.
When I'm in Israel, Israel comes first.
So, anyways, look, listen to this statement.
No, guys, please.
What is that?
You don't talk to me like that.
Brother.
You don't talk to me like that. You don't talk to me like that.
What happened?
You don't talk to me like that.
We're gonna get it to you.
Amos.
Don't get jihadi on us.
You don't talk to me like that.
Push me there.
I swear to God,
Habib.
you're cold, man. You don't talk to me like that.
Akhi.
15 minutes.
Anyways, listen to me.
In 15 minutes you can get all jihadi, just not now. Yeah, yalla.
My prerogative. Ali. Sorry. Ali.
Good, it demonstrates
Ali.
what we're saying.
Avi.
Don't call me Ali.
I said Ali and then Avi. Listen to me.
Mashallah.
You can never be Ali.
Mashallah.
Here's what I'll say to you. It's my final statement. I'm going to leave after this, right? I'm going to let Ali take that. Yes. I'm going to say to you this. Hold on. I'm going to say to you that if you're going to talk to me on a philosophical level and you want to see what parts of the Quran we should quote unquote take out, I am only concerned.
All of it.
I am only concerned with my discourse, yes, about statements and questions which have creedal disproving implications, okay? Now, if you don't have anything, like all you're doing now is applying liberal Western value judgments and saying, I don't like this. That's, to be honest
I just think we should condemn Jew hatred.
No,
that's a pretty basic start.
I haven't disagreed with you on that point. What I'll say to you is this. If it doesn't have creedal disproving...
You disagree?
My name is Yusuf, man.
Yusuf. My brother's also Yusuf.
Brother Moshe, you call it.
Akhi, I'm speaking to him. Let me finish off my statement, then you can speak. Yes?
Moshe's
Avi, look at me.
Whatever.
Yes. Point being is, here's why I think you should stand. I appreciate two things you've done today, yes? You condemned parts of the Old Testament based on your idea of morality.
Yeah.
That's good. You condemned parts of, in general, the Bible, right? And you said that is relevant to all
The
scriptures.
rabbi here said they weren't even in the Bible.
So here he's not a Jew by religion. Here's the point. What I think you should do, my advice to you, if you want to apply a morally coherent standard, you should be as active. Yeah, don't antagonize me, please. Can you give him away?
Let him get his shot.
Look at me.
You guys are bad names.
You should be as active in condemning biblical scripture as you are condemning the Quranic scripture. I want to see that change.
The moment
change.
Jews start flying planes into buildings, Wallah Habib, I'm with you.
Okay, no problem. Okay,
Now,
okay.
let's
We're
go.
done, Ali.
I am so grateful to Allah for having guided me to Islam. Sadly, I am the only Muslim in my family. It hurts me that my parents haven't accepted Islam yet, and I ask Allah to guide them. But it also gives me a special drive to work for the establishment of Islam. I don't want anyone to miss the chance of becoming Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ said that the Muslims are like one body. If you can feel my pain, would you please help me relieve it? You are now my new family. Click the link and donate to establish this masjid and share in the reward for the message of Islam reaching the corners of Norway.